Hey friend, how's it going?
It's going. It was jamming out again. It's like, what is that music? I need to get it like and just listen to it because I feel like it would motivate me to
Oh,
actually get outside and walk.
that is actually, so do you know Hedrick Nichols?
Yes.
Her son made it for me. I paid him and he made it for me.
Wow. That's
And he just made a
awesome.
yes, he's so amazing. He can do, and I just told him we like zoomed and I told him what I wanted. And actually for my book chat, I was using a song that I got like off Canva because I make my introductions at Canva, but
Mhm.
it was like even though I was using it legally, it was on YouTube. It was like, hey, whatever. So I asked him if he would speed it up. So it's going to be my new book chat theme too, just at a faster pace.
That is awesome. I like it. I like
Yeah,
it a
but
lot.
his Chris, and I always forget his last name, but just contact Hedrick and he's on Instagram and I will give him a shout out there. But how are you doing, Rachelle? How's it going? How was your weekend?
Uh, I don't actually remember. I seriously have to think. Oh, Saturday was really busy, really, really busy, but it was good. Yesterday, I was lazy, but not lazy all day. But it was good. I caught up on some Netflix and, you know, ate some food, had some coffee, took a little nap, practiced some guitar minimally, but it was good. How about you?
Nice. Yeah, it was really fast. I felt like it was way too fast. I'm not even going to tell you how my weekend was. It wasn't great. But we have a lot of people watching today, so it's so good to see everybody. And we thank you for coming in, whether it's from Twitter, whether it's from YouTube or our Facebook community. We're so glad to see you. We've got some amazing guests today. I'm really excited. And they wrote a book, but we also are going to play our favorite Would You Rather in a little bit. So stick around. Ooh, Elizabeth says, wait, Rachelle, watch Netflix. Yes. And I meant to ask you, what were you watching?
Oh my gosh. It's who said that? Elizabeth. Yeah, Mers. So I'd never watched Netflix until November. And then I started and I never saw The Office. So I've been going, going, going. I've been watching Money Heist, which was filmed and it's from Spain. And so it's in Spanish, but of course, you can have it translated. And it's amazing. Like I really, really yesterday I was trying to sit here and do work and I had it on my phone and I'm like trying to type and I'm watching it like this is bad right now. So, but it's good. And I was listening to it in Spanish as well. So it's quite enjoyable. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, my husband and I are stuck on the 100. Have you heard of that? It's like a show for teens.
Oh,
We're
is
so
it?
silly. Yeah, but it's great. It's about like apocalypse, like the end of the world. He loves
Oh,
all that stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I actually like it. It's great. But yeah, so are you guys watching Netflix? Let us know. How are you doing this Monday? Are you on spring break, Rochelle?
nope, not yet. Had school today and had assessments today and trying to get things set up for tomorrow because a couple of my were like, let you know tomorrow, not really gonna be feeling this whole Spanish thing. Like, oh, well, thanks for the 24-hour notice. He's like, can we do something fun? I said, I thought it was fun in here every day. Like apparently not. Apparently not. But
You know what would make it a lot more fun, Rochelle?
what?
If you put your bunny ears on.
I'm not totally feeling those bunny ears right now. So
Leave me hanging. Hey,
oh,
Tammy.
Tammy, was it this
Okay.
book? Was it this one? I'm sorry,
Oh,
story?
that is
Was
so
it this one?
sweet.
I think it
Thank you, Tammy. You're so sweet, both of you are. It's wonderful.
I
All
try.
right. Well, enough about my weirdness and bunny ears. Like, tell us. So our guests that are coming up, Ross Cooper and Erin Murphy.
Yep.
They wrote
Oh
this
yeah, here we
amazing
go.
new project. Yeah, woo! You want to give them an introduction, and I'll bring them right up.
I do, but I'll do this quick because you happy? The bunny ears, all right? I'm not gonna leave them
I
on for
keep
right
them on.
now. I'll save them. I'll save them. But no, I couldn't wait for this book to come out, and I will tell you why. I bring them up too. I've known them for I don't know how many years now, but I got to meet them both in person in Hershey years ago, and their first book had just come out a couple months prior to that. But I had just started project-based learning with my students. I think that same year, like 6 months before we actually met, and their first book was fantastic. I was totally not doing PBL. I thought I wasn't. I was doing learning based on projects. So then reading Hacking PBL totally helped. And it's a book I've recommended for anybody who looks to get started. It's like, always, please go get this book. But now I got to recommend this book because it's also amazing. And I love everything about this book. I just have to say it. So good to see you, Erin and Ross. Thanks for being here with us today.
Hi, Rachelle. Hi, Mel. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I have Ross's name here first. Ross, tell us, for those of us that don't know you as well, and I just met you for the first time today, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, so so everything you need to know is right there. So I'm done. No. So currently I'm an administrator, an assistant principal in Westchester, New York, pretty close to where I grew up in Trumbull, Connecticut. I've been everything from a fourth grade teacher to an assistant principal to an elementary school principal to a K through 12 curriculum supervisor. I've waited tables at a couple of restaurants. What else have I done? Yeah, but a little bit of everything. And yeah, I'm passionate about project-based learning, student-centered learning, inquiry-based learning, and now as an administrator, instructional leadership and the idea of empowering our students, teachers, staff, anybody and everybody to really to make a difference in what they do. What else? Did I miss anything? I think that's it. Good?
Yeah. That sounded good to me.
Good.
Erin, tell us a little bit about you, for those of us who I just got to meet you for the first time today too.
Sure. So my teaching experience, kindergarten, second, third, fifth grade, I spent a few years as a K through 12 technology coach. And then I spent almost 5 years as a middle school assistant principal, which, that really, you earn your stripes that way. And currently I am a K through 12 humanities supervisor in the curriculum office. But since Ross did like a throwback, I will also tell you that I spent a few years as a supervisor at Sesame Place in Pennsylvania, which, it's a theme park based around Sesame characters owned by Anheuser-Busch. And I actually like to tell people that everything I needed to know about leadership, I learned supervising 15-year-olds in the summer in the heat.
Oh my God.
So
was that your first job?
Yeah, I guess that was like my first real job. Like I was, I started as a lifeguard and then I got promoted and I was a supervisor. And, here I am like 20 and I'm supervising all these like 15-year-olds who were being 15 in the summer. You learn a lot about motivating people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't do that.
Rachelle, what was your first job?
Oh, I don't know if I actually want to say this one.
We should turn this into like that three. Go ahead.
I always have to think back. I think my first job, I worked in the food court at a mall at Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. I'm pretty sure. And I was just like taking orders, the register, doing the food. And then not too long after that, I became like the manager. So I was doing like all the money, making the hush puppies, making extra hush puppies because they were so good, gigantic hush puppies. So that was my first job.
That is awesome. I don't even know that about you.
Yeah. And then I was a bagger at the grocery store. I worked at a steel company for a little bit as like a temp. So yeah. And then a waitress.
I have a serious question I'm going to ask you guys in just a second, but how do you feel like your first jobs really prepared you for like what you're doing today? Because I feel like they have a lot to do with who we are. Do you feel that way?
I think so. I mean, like one of my first jobs, I forgot to mention this. I worked at Banana Republic over the summer, and like a lot of the clothes that I purchased at my employee discount still fit, and I would. So 100% Banana Republic prepared me for
That's terrible. That was a terrible
Men
example.
don't have to change. If men can still wear the same clothes for, I don't know how long with Ross, you're probably younger than me, but seriously, like we couldn't get away with that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I talked about Sesame Place, but like, let's get into it then. Like, when you are at Sesame Place, like the person who puts you in your tube for the tube ride is also the person who ultimately like cleans the bathroom at the end of the night. So after you've been like in the heat, in the water all day, you know, you then had to like go and like clean some bathrooms. So it took like some serious convincing. Like you had to turn it into a game, and like you were like praising the positive behavior, like, oh wow, thanks so much. And then, you know, you also had to be humble enough to roll up your own sleeves and put the gloves on and put your hand in the toilet when the diaper was stuck in there, you know? So
God.
I feel like, you know, that is a good leadership lesson, right? Like, you got to practice what you preach. Like even now as an administrator, I'm not going to tell a teacher to teach hybrid if I haven't put on, like, gotten in their seat and taught this hybrid myself. And,
Right.
you know, that was a lot of like the street cred this year was, don't tell me to do something if you can't do it yourself. And I think that that says a lot to people that you're leading.
Definitely. I think that earns you a virtual high five, Erin. I love that. Yes.
Love it.
And I don't know if y'all saw Rochelle's mom, what she said, but I just think
I love that your
Sorry.
mom popped in here. That's fabulous.
Mary Ann, you're awesome.
That's hysterical. Wow.
Wow.
That's the best thing.
You know what though? I don't think she complained all the years I worked at Denny's when I came home and I smelled like, I don't even from serving all the like grand slams, for goodness sakes.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I can't believe she said that.
I can.
Well,
I can.
now you
That
know.
is-
Now you know.
Thanks, Mary Ann, for keeping it
man.
real. So wonderful. So Erin and Ross, I didn't realize this, but you guys are like, you work together. Tell us a little bit about how, like, what led you to writing, what led you to PBL, because you have a history. You're not strangers.
No. So okay, we'll start with how we met, how we know each other, and then we'll go into why PBL or what led us to PBL.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ross and I taught at the same elementary. So he taught and I taught 5th grade. I like to tell people that I had to like clean up all of his mistakes, but that's not really true. It's a good joke, right? Cleaned it all up. Anything to add to that elaborate story there, Ross?
No, I mean, so what happened was we both worked for the East Penn School District in Eastern Pennsylvania, about an hour north of Philly. After, I could speak for myself, after a couple years on the job at one of the schools, Westcoastville Elementary School, they opened up a new school in the district, Willow Lane Elementary School. You know, so it was kind of cool, brand new elementary school. The principal, who I was working for at the time, Tony Moyer, probably one of the most influential people in my professional career, and also from a personal standpoint, he transferred over to that school from Westcoastville to Willow Lane as the new principal. So he opened up the new school as the principal. Basically, you know, who's coming with me? You know, that whole type of thing. I came with him. Erin joined us there from another school, from Jefferson Elementary. And he taught 5th grade, I taught 4th. And that's how we started working together. And I think we probably only worked together for maybe, I want to say like 3 or 4 years, I think. And that's really, I think, when our passion, I think we were both doing project-based learning before that, but I think the context and the situation over at Willow Lane is really when we push things further with PBL.
Yeah, I would say so. Interesting. I had sort of an opposite path to project-based learning and inquiry-based learning than maybe some other teachers, where during my pre-service career, I was trained in inquiry-based instructional approaches. So like I went through the professional development school at Penn State and worked in the State College Area School District. And it was an expectation that you taught via inquiry. And so then I graduated and I started to work, initially not in East Penn, but so I started to work, and it was sort of like, oh, like what's a basal reader? Like, I don't know how to teach a textbook. I've never done that. So I almost had to like backwards learn how to teach in like maybe more traditional methods. But then as Ross said, once I made my journey to Willow Lane, and Tony sort of promoted this, like, hey, whatever works, whatever makes your, whatever is student-centered. So then I was able to sort of fully embrace that project-based experience. And since Ross and I were both working that way, it's our, I guess, goals aligned. Our passions aligned there.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love that Barbara is watching. Thank you so much. She says, I've heard it said that people don't quit jobs, they quit principals. And I believe that the converse is true. Definitely, definitely. And you guys, you've been in admin roles and you know how important it is for, like, you had a principal that said, do what makes you, what's student centered and what gets you going. That's pretty amazing. And definitely I've worked for some micromanagers. So, and I'm sure they're not watching me right now, so I can say that.
You hope not.
But I mean, I know how it feels. Yeah. And you both share in the story. I started reading it today, and I love how you talked about, the why behind it. And I think that's really important. And Ross, what you said that your teacher wrote about you in a report card that it stayed with you for a long time, about how you were great when you wanted to learn, but when you didn't want to learn, you didn't comply. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, have I written something like that in somebody's report card? Like, it really stuck with me.
Yeah. I think it's just the idea that. Hold on, I thought I might sneeze. Hold on. Nope. Okay. I think it's just the idea that a lot of times we spend a lot of time, and we get more into this in the book, is like we try to sell our students too much on what we're doing, and I think especially. I hate being like, well, these days kids are different. And I don't want to say like they're different, but they're definitely have more of access to the world around them, even with just, the technologies like this, and I think we can't insult their intelligence. So it's really the difference between like engagement and relevance. Like, a lot of times, and the example I use in the book is like, I'm a huge foodie. I think pretty much everybody who knows me, I'm a huge foodie. I love steak, dry aged steak. I love pizza from Brooklyn and New Haven, Connecticut. And a lot because of my love for food. We could talk more about that later. Because of my love for food, like I had my students do restaurant reviews. And when you hear it, it's like, oh, that's like really cool. Like I would love to write a restaurant review. But it's like, did I ask my students if they were foodies or if it's something that they wanted to do? And could I have looked at the academic standards and said, okay, like here's one way to meet these learning goals, but there's other ways as well. What works for you? And it's really this difference between engagement and relevance, like and meeting students where they are rather than the other way around. And I just think, and I was guilty of this for a while, even to the point when I left the classroom, where just trying to sell students rather than giving them voice and choice. I also think one more point I'll make, then I'll be quiet. Is that at least for now I'll be quiet, is that like I think we could also think about how that works as administrators too, like trying to sell other administrators or teachers on things that we want to do in our school and district, saying, hey, look at all this work I've done for our initiative, look at all this work I've done for professional development day, isn't this great, we're all going to do it together. Well, it would have been really great if you got our feedback ahead of time, or as you were going through the process of creating this, if you talked with us and asked how things were going with our teachers and in our building, so I think it's like if we're really preaching these types of things, we need to make sure that they're sticking and that we're applying them and that they're sticking at every level of our organization. I think that's really how we move forward, and how we create not just pockets of innovation and pockets of us moving forward, but everybody moving forward together in an innovative culture.
I think the way I've come to think of it too is that like we need to be more human-centered. So we get really caught up in like systems and structures and like ideas that we have in our own head, and tend not to focus on like the other humans that's impacting. So the same applies to students, right? Like students come to our classrooms and they have their own opinions about things. And if our instruction is void of their opinions, then the whole lesson, like the whole instruction is void then, because it didn't make that relevance. It didn't make that relevant connection that they needed.
Right. Love that. I need to be taking notes.
Yeah, basically, it's putting our title to the side, right? Like it's whether you're a teacher, whether you're an assistant principal, a principal, I was a curriculum person, whether, whatever you are, assistant superintendent, it's like putting your title to the side and saying, how might I be more human, and how might we even flatten the hierarchy to an extent?
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it's all about. And that's huge, right? That's absolutely huge. And that's really how you empower people and get the most out of people, make them feel like they're a part of something. Erin said that the other day. She said, someone asked us about what makes your book unique. She said it's very human, I think you said. And I love that. I like that.
Oh, Ross just complimented me. Someone write that down. Is this being recorded?
It is. Yeah.
Can we save
And
this
we'll
for-
keep sharing it over and over and over.
Just that part. Can we get a soundbite?
Yeah, let me get what that minute was for that too, just so I know.
I'm on mute. My kids are screaming. They're actually not screaming in pain, but I'm sorry if you can hear it. That's what I'm just. But Barbara, actually, thank you for sharing. If our instruction is void of their opinion, then the whole instruction is void. Thank you, Erin, for.
Awesome. Oh man, it is a day over there in Mel's house, man. I'm living that. I feel you. I feel you, Mama.
Oh my gosh.
It's a thing.
It's so hard. I just want to scream at them right now. My husband's working upstairs, so it's like today, yeah, it's going crazy. But no, I love what you're saying, and the thing that I'm learning more and more of, if it doesn't come from like the leaders of the school, and you can be a leader no matter what role you have, but like the people that our admin, if they're not giving us this empowerment, then it's harder for us to do this in our own classroom. So I love that you guys are able to say that, like. It really does have to be through all levels. But I think sometimes what makes it people hate PBL or hate doing these new things when really this has been around for quite a while is just that some of us excelled in the school system when we, the way that it has been structured with the basal. And so it's hard for us to leave that, or we get one boss who says stick with the textbook and then another one that says do PBL. So there's always that confusion of learning and unlearning and trying to figure out where you are.
Yeah. And I think, okay, so you made, I think, two really big points is that it works. Like for some kids, this worked, like, reading the story, answering the questions in the back, like that functioned for them. I think that, and I hate, and we actually talk about this in the book, and Ross wrote this part. It's almost like you don't want future ready. Like we don't want to just like talk about like, oh, well, in the future, in the job, like that has become almost like this game that we play. Like kids need to be ready for the jobs of the future. And like, they're not going to need to like read a text and answer questions in the back of the book in their future. But that is sort of like true, right? Like how often, like think about what just happened in the last year. Nothing has been predictable. So if we're only preparing kids for predictable patterns, like for that kind of predictable is the word that's just sticking with me right now. So if that's all they're being prepared for, then they're not going to fare well in constantly changing adaptive environments. And then the second piece you said about leadership, I'll let Ross jump in here because that's usually where.
Okay, I'll jump right in. I think it's like, I think like listening to Melody talk, it's about like, I had one leader who believed in this. I had one leader who believed, like one principal believed, and I think it's up to the bigger organization to decide like what you believe in. And I think a lot of times, whether it's, no matter what position you are, you feel like in some way, shape or form, like what you believe in is going to like magically like reach the people with whom you work. And I think it's very important to have a distinct direction, saying whether it's as a district, whether it's as a school, this is our, even as simple as a vision statement, a mission statement, and a handful of learning beliefs. Like this is what we're supporting. And then your instructional shifts. I prefer instructional shifts as opposed to initiatives because initiatives always carry with it negative connotations. And then so you have your vision, your mission, then your learning beliefs, and then you have your instructional shifts that take place under that umbrella. And it's basically like, this is the direction that we're heading in. However, we also, and this is very important, we also respect you as professionals. So here's basically like the non-negotiables, or you could say the micro credentials, or the micro expectations, or the guiding principles, whatever you want to call them. And then here's where you have flexibility to make it your own, just like you would do with your students. So it's this idea that it shouldn't. That, of course, like we always joke about the pendulum swinging back and forth, especially depending on who the building principal is, or who else is in administration. But these things should really, if you're looking at everything, taking more of a systems thinking approach, these things should really be defined. It shouldn't be, just like it shouldn't be a guessing game for students. It shouldn't be a guessing game for teachers. And I always, think something has gone wrong when the teachers are more concerned with meeting school and district expectations. Like, it's like, oh, I thought this is what administration wanted. You know what I mean? It's like, you've been teaching for 20 years and you're trying to give me what I want. Like, I just started here. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be like this guessing game. You know, it shouldn't be this guessing game. It should be crystal clear what we stand for and what we're trying to accomplish, while also respecting the people that are in front of students every day. So that's looking at things from like more of like a systems thinking point of view. But I think it's I think really it's about respecting the expertise of people. And I think for some reason, education is like one of these fields where we don't do that. Now, I'm not saying like, I'm saying, and I'm painting with broad strokes, but in general, a lot of times we don't respect the expertise of our people. And what I have found is that when you do show that expertise, and when you do say like, I trust you, I believe in you, people just like our students, but the people with whom we work tend to not only meet our expectations, but surpass them, you know? And I think that's huge. That's huge if we want to move an organization forward.
Yeah. Totally agree. And I think that's exactly why some teachers are like, okay, what am I supposed to do to make sure that I'm meeting every criteria that I'm supposed to be? I mean, because we as you go through different leaders, you go through different like initiatives, like you said. I mean, it's just a part of, you know, being in the classroom or being in a school system for a long time. It's always changing. But when this becomes your core belief, you can find a way. That's what I learned as oh my gosh, I'm going to kill him. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know it's all this serious talk. This has been wonderful and wonderful, but we have to have a little bit of fun before we go. Can you believe that we've almost been talking for 30 minutes?
But I got to say something about PBL. I've been waiting. So a couple things. When I first started a couple of years ago, Ross was so kind to, I forget if we Skyped or Google Meet with my students. And couple of them presented. It was like early on. We were like three months in, I guess. It actually it might have been a couple of weeks before their book came out, because I think your book came out in December that year, right?
It did.
I think. Okay. So we did, the meet, and my students were like, here's my essential question. And Ross is like, well, why does that matter to you? And the one girl's like, I don't want to say anymore. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then the other one, but it was a good experience for them to like present it to somebody else. But then when we were at that conference in February, they got to meet Ross and Erin both. And the two of the students, when they did the presentation, they're like, well, we're going to talk about PBL because I guess it's like some big thing or something. I mean, they were in a room full of like, I think there was like 300 educators in there. Yeah. And I introduced them and I got out of the way. But that was like the start of it. And so ever since then, I mean, I have been doing some presentations on PBL, mostly just talking about how I started, because I had not a clue what I was doing. But then I had books like theirs, and then the support from them and everything else that's out there. But the one thing, and I'll wrap this up because I got to do the would you rather, is what I love about this book is it has as the titles of chapters so many questions that I have been asked in presentations, like, how do I do grades? How do I get started? How do I do like my normal content curriculum and also do the PBL, for example? And I just love it's the how do I, how does. And so there's all those steps. So I'm glad that you have all of that put together, because now, again, I can say, you know what? It's a great book for that. You need to go pick up this book because it has those answers to those questions that you're asking. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Thank you. That was by design.
Totally.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love the cover. Love the book.
I know. Yes, I do too. And I'm glad you said that. I agree completely. I'm so glad that it has all that, because I have started it and not finished sometimes. So I'm glad. I can't wait to dig into it. But now it is time to have some fun. And I was hoping that Rachelle would put her bunny ears, at least that would you rather, because it's fun time.
I put them
on. Hanging with these stupid for like 3 seconds. Come on. All right, here we go. Would you rather? Let's do this.
They don't even look like bunny ears. I'm disappointed in the selection that I had there. Okay, would you rather? All right, question one. What?
Nothing. I'm going to close my mouth. Go ahead, girl.
Okay. Would you rather win the lottery or live twice as long?
Win the lottery.
Yeah, I'll go with that too. Win the lottery.
Okay. Mal?
You're muted. Ha!
Right. For sure. I for sure win the lottery. Oh my goodness. I want to live. I really want to live and I want to do all the things. So yeah.
All right. And I don't answer the questions. I just ask them. So
You can answer it. What would you rather do?
both.
Oh, okay.
No.
That is not
It depends because I don't know what my lifespan is anyway. So
That's what I got. It was like weird. I was like, am I going to keep getting older? Like,
yeah. I mean, would you win the lottery or not?
Trick question.
Yeah. Okay. Question 2. Would you rather live in a world where there are no problems or a world where you rule? And I'm not making these up.
If we rule, there won't be any problems. Is that
Right.
after being an administrator for the last year, I would say that I was in a world with no problems.
Yeah. I choose that one too.
a world without distance learning and in-person learning at the same time.
Well, that's a problem. So I'm calling that it.
No, anybody.
A world without a pandemic. Oh my goodness, it would be wonderful.
Yeah,
And I've been watching the 100 on Netflix, y'all. This apocalypse. I mean, it's like, does the human race ever learn? So I would definitely, let's just go without the problems.
All right. Question 3. Would you rather spend a day surfing the ocean or surfing the internet?
Surfing the ocean or surfing the internet?
Surfing the
That's the question?
I don't know how to surf. I would try. I would try.
Okay, the assumption would be that you would have the skills to do it. I'll throw that
I wish
in
I
there.
did. I would go for that then. I think that would be fun.
Okay.
I'm East Coast through and through, but I'd go out to the West Coast and surf, maybe.
Okay.
I would surf the internet only because I have a very healthy fear of sharks.
That's good.
It's real. It's real.
It's real.
All right.
It's fair.
Erin, did you answer?
What about you, Rachelle?
Oh, me? I forget the question. What was- I'll go with the ocean because that'll be something different than surfing the internet.
Yeah.
So, okay. Question, I forget what number. 3 maybe, could be 4. Would you rather live in Harry Potter's world or live a life full of fame and wealth?
Fame and wealth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Death Eaters, so I mean.
I think it depends what I would be in Harry Potter's world. Like, would I get to attend Hogwarts? Would I be a Ravenclaw, a Slytherin, a Hufflepuff, a Gryffindor? Like, I don't know. Would I be on the Quidditch team? I don't know.
Oh, you put so much thought into that. I think I could have named like one of those things.
I am a fan. I am a fan.
I think you might be a house elf.
I would be a house elf, but I would be if I was like Dobby. I mean, they have really like awesome powers. I would love to be a house elf. I think that would be good. I'd go for Harry Potter.
All right. Did everybody answer?
Yeah. I don't know if Mel did, but
I'm with Erin. I want the fame and wealth. Forget Harry Potter.
All right, forget Harry Potter. Okay, would you rather be a lawyer or a doctor?
Oh,
I am too squeamish to be a doctor. I can't do blood.
All right, so lawyer for you.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I would go lawyer.
I think I'd go lawyer. My younger brother's a lawyer. I think I'd be good at it. I don't think I'd be a good doctor.
I'm conflicted because I am a lawyer, but I've always joked that I wanted to go to med school. So I don't know what I would
I really like Grey's Anatomy.
You probably will, Rachelle. Like you could. Do
I'm a little too old for that at this point. I think I've reached maximum capacity on length, like long sections. Okay, I will ask you one more.
Okay.
Would you rather? And we did one of these before too, Mel. Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life? Or pause?
Does the rest of the world come with us? Like if I rewind, does everybody else come?
I think so. I think. Although I can't be sure, but would it make it easier if they couldn't?
Well, I think that if I had a pause button, then I would have no need to rewind. That's just my answer.
Yeah, I like pause. I could use a good nap.
Yeah.
For real.
I tend to like pause as well. I think, if you, yes, you want to learn from all your mistakes, but you also, I think, what do they say? Looking back too much hurts your neck. I think, of course we all have regrets, but I think just, if I could just like pause and like, and get, take some time to get my life together, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And then move forward. I think that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I would selectively
thank you.
rewind.
Oh, sorry, Rachelle. I'm sorry. Yes, selectively rewind. That's a good answer for sure.
Yeah, I try. I just make it up as I go. I don't know.
It was so fun that both of you were here today, and I'm so glad. I hope everybody will check out your book. It's great, project-based learning. And actually, in May 5th, I'm going to have both of you on my book chat. I'm so excited. So we'll be seeing more of you, and I hope that you'll get more follows after this, because you guys have a lot of information, and I can't wait to keep learning from both of you. And everyone who's watching, thank you for tuning in. We will not be live this Friday or the Monday following. So
I'm going to miss you.
Weekend.
Well,
We'll miss you too.
I'm gonna miss you, Ross. Now that you're a part of my life, I don't know how I'm.
It'll be okay.
We'll make it. I'll see you guys soon. But everybody else, take care, and thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you have a great week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.